Yeah. Yeah, something, we covered that on last night's show, and I even stated then is that I don't understand, particularly African Americans in particular. I don't see why they are Christians. I mean, that religion was forced upon the African American community when we were forcibly brought here. Like, why would you take upon the religion of your captors? You know they don't have your best interest at heart. I don't understand why once African Americans gained freedom, they didn't drop the Christian religion altogether. It makes no sense to me.
Right. Absolutely. And Tim, I tell you, like I said, 2,000 years from now, when I ain't gonna say not even 2,000 years from now, but years from now, when somebody digs up a Bible, they gonna think they found the old comic book. That's really what it's gonna boil down to.
Damn, you really. Well, let me just say this. Despite my own wavering religion, I mean, there is things in the Bible that are, I want to say.
No, don't get it wrong, Tim. Let me stop you right
Sure.
before you start.
Sure.
I think that the Bible can make people be good and kind to others. It serves its purpose. That's the only purpose that it needs to have. Is just that it makes other people be good and kind to others.
The problem is there is no.
It doesn't need to serve.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to serve to make you believe in God. It doesn't mean it to make you believe in the Creator. It's just to make you be kind to others. And if it does that, then it's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, and but the unfortunate problem is there is no evidence that has ever happened. When you look at the way this country has evolved, the further back in our history you go, the more religious we were, the closer to God this country as a whole was, and the worse it was in terms of inhumane acts.
Absolutely.
So reading the Bible, in fact, we have started beginning as a country to stray away from Christianity, and more people are free. More people have gotten free doing that.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Look, the farther we get away, this country definitely is becoming less of a Christian nation. Not that I think it ever was, because when I look at it from the standpoint that you go out and you get somebody a necklace on Saturday night and then go to church on Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
A pearl necklace. I've never. Oh my God.
Hey Tim, but I can remember leaving the club. And going to church too. You know, about 4 hours after that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know, it's all in how you look at it. But my heart was good. I just put it. My heart was in the right place. I put that.
Yeah. Well, to me, like I said, the way we're obviously what we were doing in the past with Native Americans, women, African Americans, you name it. But even now, look, I get that you have to have laws, but the way we're treating immigrants, the illegal immigrants, the ones that don't have a legal right to be here, the way we're actually treating them, I cannot imagine any deity, any God saying that, yeah, that's okay to do that. I mean, like at the end of the day, coming in the country illegally, we are a nation of laws. But we all are judged when we go to court or whatever. Everybody don't get the same sentence. Some people say, some cases, look, since you got charged with this, you've been a good person, you've been an upstanding citizen, we'll waive it, or we'll do this, we'll give you a small fine. We're treating all of them like they're hardened criminals.
Right, exactly. And that's where the problem. Everybody says that Trump's doing exactly what he said. No, he didn't. If he just said he was going to just arrest every brown person you see on the streets and going to go into schools. I mean, these people right now are getting their kids clothes, so they're scared for their kids to go back to school.
Yeah, it's one way beyond, because I mean he obviously won the Hispanic male vote. There's no way they voted for him expecting him to do what he's doing now.
No way.
Yeah.
A lot of them have seen their parents get drug off to some place that they don't know God's where they're at. So there's no way that anybody voted for that. Nobody anticipated him doing this. He said he was going to arrest the criminals and get them off the streets. And not even myself was against that. I couldn't be against that.
Yeah. What I think Trump did, now the liberals have done the same shit. What I think Trump did is he used extreme cases to get folks to side with him to do so that he could do things that were nowhere near the extreme. It's kind of like the folks who are pro-choice and they want to legalize abortion, so they start talking about women that are raped or women that are going to die. They use these extreme examples to legalize abortion, when in reality it's just a lot of women that don't want the kid after a bad night with the wrong dude.
Absolutely. And it's more of that than anything else.
Right. And that's what Trump did. Trump used rapists and murderers as as an extreme example to get everybody to agree with his deportation policies. When in reality,
the left does the same thing.
Right.
Tim, you think for 1 second that if they ban assault style weapons, that they ain't coming after your 9mm too down the
that's a
road?
great point. Yeah, that's a great point. And I've said that before quite a while ago, but I did say that if they ban, the left says we're not trying to take away all guns, just the military. Yeah, if you take away the AR-15 or an M4 or something like that, and you can show a reduction in deaths from people being killed with those weapons, well, the next result is let's go after the next gun. We're saving lives.
Well, Tim, I have a lot of weapons. I'm a retired military. I love shooting and I hunt. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is like it's here. Tim, if I get an extended clip on my 9 on my Glock, I can do just as much damage as I can on my AR.
Well, what about the accuracy though?
Inside of school, inside of building.
Yeah.
How much accuracy do I'm not shooting nobody from around the corner. I'm shooting you from like right in front of me.
Right. I get your point. I mean, I am a CCW person, but after living in countries where they don't have as much gun freedom as we do here, and it just feels like when I lived in Australia and even in New Zealand, there is nowhere in that country where I felt even somewhat uncomfortable walking down the street. There are plenty of places in America where I feel like I need to have a gun just to walk in that neighborhood, whether it's from other black folks or whether it's from the cops. I mean, so...
And not only that, Tim, you say you're from the Chicago area, right?
Yeah.
By the time a cop actually get to you on the north side of Chicago, from where that precinct is located at, if you don't have something in your house to protect yourself, your whole family could be unalive.
But it would be fine if we only was, because that's, like I said, using extreme examples to get everybody to work with you. If all of the citizens carried firearms just in their houses, I don't think you'd have the uproar. The fact is, a lot of people are carrying them in road rage incidents. They're going into bars with them. It's not people carrying firearms in their houses that are using them irresponsible. It's mostly people carrying them in public.
Well, and you're right, and that's why I say when people say that if they just make it where everybody can carry one, it'd be like the Wild Wild West.
Right.
It would be crazy.
So you agree then that an armed society is not a polite society?
It's not, and it's definitely not a safer society.
Right.
It's definitely just because you got to figure. Let me tell you something to you. I trained police officers for a while, and I'm gonna tell you something. The problem with police officers is that with in the inner city, and I can only speak in the cities. The young white cops that actually go off to the academy and get graduated, when they're on their patrols for the first patrol, they're riding around and they're hollering at the kids, "Get off the sidewalk, pull your pants up, your hair's too long."
Your hair is too long? Really?
Oh, yeah, they especially if they see a brother with a big afro or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Or I can't see your face and all kind of crazy stuff. And they don't just do it to the black kids; they do it to the white kids too.
So that's just fucking with people.
But what they don't understand, though, is when those kids grow up, they grow up disliking cops.
Yeah.
And now those kids are the thugs. And then those same cops, when they ride by the real thugs, they don't even look over at them.
Why is that?
Because them real thugs ain't scared of them. And they show them their guns, because a lot of them can legally carry, too.
Never saw it that way. Never saw it. To me, I think when it comes to the problem I see in regards to a police conversation is they're trained based on an us versus them mentality. They're trained how to shoot targets and things like that. They don't get a lot of training in de-escalation. A lot of these cases, a lot of this shit would not happen if I get pulled over and I start talking shit to the cop, most cops will escalate it above me and ultimately take me into custody or whatever. Yeah. As opposed to saying, look, if he ain't doing nothing wrong, let him talk shit. Talking shit ain't illegal. I mean, you don't have to,
I'm taking it to another level. They get zero cultural diversity training.
Yeah.
That's where the biggest problem come in at, is that the cultural diversity problem. See, it's not unusual for a young black guy to call a white cop a nigger. But as soon as a young black kid call anybody that's white a nigger, they all of a sudden want to jack that kid up and throw him in the backseat of their car. You follow what I'm saying? But that's just the way that kid talks. You feel what I'm saying?
I don't like the use of the word, and try to avoid it on here because TikTok will censor you for it. But
Yeah, you're right.
I don't like, even as a black man, I don't use the word really at all. I think it's kind of
I taught all my kids to never use that word.
yeah. I think it's insane for African Americans to think that they have proprietary use over a word. I get that it has a history to it, a connotation, but if you don't want the word used, damn it, don't use it either. You can't make music and shit that white people are purchasing and shit and telling them, well, you can't use a word that's on there. I mean, that makes no sense at all. If you don't want the word used, don't use it either. I mean, I don't understand that.
Absolutely. My son, 31 years old, like I said, my son's actually in the politics. He works in the government in Maryland. And I can honestly tell you, he uses that word, and it pisses me off when I hear him using it. I'm saying that word is like the problem with you young guys. You guys will say that you don't want, it's okay if you use it because you put a "g" on the end of it.
Yeah.
But then as soon as one of the YT people use it, all of a sudden now you got a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like I said, if you are selling your music to a white audience and you feature that word in there, how the hell are you gonna sell them music and tell them they can't sing the lyrics that you put in the song you sold them to? I mean, it just, to me, I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Every other word, every other word they're supposed to go beep.
Yeah.
Beep.
I remember one time being on a public train in Chicago headed into work, and it was me and maybe two black guys, and the train was packed, mostly all white people. Some dudes, one of the black guys' phone goes off, and it's that Jigga Jigga ask about me, Jigga ask, it said, I'm looking around like, come on now. I mean, that was his ringtone. Ask about me, Jigga, ask him. I'm like, come on now.
It just embarrassed all the old heads, right?
Yeah, I felt really embarrassed to see that, but
yeah,
that's the younger community, and they still have that mindset. I can say the word, but this person cannot, and yeah, I'm no fan of that. I don't agree with it whatsoever. So you do see. Go ahead.
I can't wait to your topics, but I definitely want you to just ask them, what do they think? No, don't just ask one of them that says he's a Christian.
I think almost all MAGA, with the exception of Trump, because Trump has admitted he's not a Christian on video. I think all MAGA other than Trump are Christians. So
yeah,
he's about the only one that said he wasn't Christian.
I think in that category, you know what, but I give him props for being honest about that, though.
No, don't give him props, because in more recent time, he is now stating he is Christian. So don't even give him props about it.
Now you don't flip-flop?
Yeah.
Now you don't flip-flop?
Yeah, there's video of him saying he's never asked God for forgiveness. He just fixes it himself. Even when he was talking about voting for me and you won't have to vote ever again, he said, Christians, he said, I'm not one of you. I mean, yeah, he said both. He's claimed to be Christian, and he's clearly said he's not Christian in a span of a few months, I think it is. So, but that's Trump. That's Trump.
Having to go to church. I grew up having to go to. You can miss school all week with the measles, the mumps, or chicken pox, but come Sunday, your ass was in church, and you were in church from 10 o'clock in the morning, Sunday school, to 2 o'clock in the evening. You know what I'm saying? That was every Sunday.
That's how I live. I lived that way as a kid, not to mention vocation Bible school all throughout the summertime. Lewis, I got to move it on. Yeah. Good talk, by the way, man. Remember to ask that question. So let me make sure I get the phrasing right. If Jesus,
go for it.
Okay, if Jesus were the next guest, how do you think he would view America?
How do you think he would answer that question on how America's doing?
All right, I'll see if I can pass that one on. We'll ask someone and see what they have to say.
And that includes Ukraine, that includes Pakistan, that includes all of those things. How is America looking to the rest of the world? What would Jesus say? That's pretty much all you got to say.
All right.
What would Jesus say?
Fair enough. And I don't think it's our responsibility, but fair enough. Lewis, thank you for coming through.
Yeah. But you know what, Tim, me being a soldier, I think the world is our responsibility because we are the big dogs.
There's only one reason. There's only one. As a soldier yourself, and I've not served in the military, but I will tell you this, and I don't mean this with anything but the utmost respect. The only reason we are the world leader is because of folks like you being exploited. You've been sent to other countries to limit the rights and freedoms of other people. We wouldn't be the world superpower if we didn't use the military for the last 70 years to limit the freedoms and powers of other countries. So we're not the superpower by anything. We've done fantastic. We've literally oppressed other countries so that they don't have any other choice but to take a backseat to us.
We've given the rest of the world promises. We've given the rest of the world promises.
Yeah.
You be our friend, we'll take care of you. End of story.
Yeah, and in some cases, we've actually removed power, like Iran, for instance, recently. You're talking about stopping the spread of communism in Vietnam. A lot of those wars, I mean, we saw what we did to Saddam Hussein in Iraq. A lot of those wars was just to limit the power of other people, telling them they should be.
I was in Iraq, but and I feel like that was a big mistake. That's all I gotta say. That was a big mistake.
Trump says it's the dumbest mistake in U.S. history. Lewis, thanks for coming through.
Yep.
All right. Moving on with the program, by the way, tap the screen to get us on up to 15,000. That's enough for you folks in here. Tap the screen. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Get the likes on up to 15,000. We'll take the next caller. T2, thank you for the support. Says, you all crying about Trump and tariffs. Well, my Wall Street stocks doubled. Damn. I like to know what you're investing in. My Wall Street stocks doubled. Apparently, Trump is smarter than the average American. His IQ is 160. Look, the guy's a billionaire, but he did get a hell of a head start. You hear the guy often say, I started out with $1 million loan from my dad and turned it into an empire, as if everybody had access to a dad that could loan him $1 million. But in regards to him having 160 IQ, I haven't heard that. What is that based on? Now, did Trump tell you his IQ was 160? I'd have to hear. I'm not doubting what you're saying, but I have not heard that. And I see your correction, Ms. Mobetta. $400 million from his dad. Yeah, maybe he got $1 million loan from his dad, but obviously when Fred Trump died, he left him a ton of inheritance as well. So, Trump has a ton of money. He's had a lot of successful businesses over the years, a few bankruptcies. But he did have a head start that none of us could ever dream of. I mean, it's not like, what does Drake say? Started from the bottom, now I'm here. He never started from the bottom. He started from the top and climbed up from there. So, I mean, he was born in the 1%. So he did have a hell of a silver spoon in his mouth at birth. But 160 IQ, T2. Now, in regards to you saying your Wall Street stocks doubled, and you're talking about everybody that's crying about Trump and the tariffs, well, you sound like you might already be a man of means. And fact is, a lot of what Trump is doing, if you are perhaps a man of means, it is aimed at you. I mean, after a certain tax bracket, a lot of things that Trump is doing are actually beneficial for you. But the girl working at Dollar Tree as an assistant manager, it ain't meant for her. It's meant for people who are already doing well. It's meant to help them do even better. So a lot of that may have something to do with it. But anyway, regards to what you're talking about in the comments, and we'll take the next caller soon. Tap the screen. Get us on up to 20,000 likes. King Finn, I do see you in the comments asking, what are the topics tonight? As you see on the screen, I'm asking, what does make America great again mean to you? When you hear that phrase, what does it mean to you? What does make America great again mean to you? I'm also going to ask the same thing. I don't know why I'm got Obligo Garcia up there, but I'm also going to ask the same thing about the phrase America first. Because you hear make America great again, but it's often in conjunction with America first. What does that also mean to you? What does the phrase America first mean? I'd be curious to know that one for certain. Both of those phrases have been used before Trump. So Trump is not the originator of either phrase. Make America great again, I believe, was used by Ronald Reagan. And America first probably has even more sinister ties to it, if you ask me. But they've both been used before. What do they mean to you, though, in modern times? Now, we got more than one topic, as always. I'm asking, and the second topic is kind of mild. How do you predict America will be in January of 2029? That's the last month of Trump's term. What do you think how do you think America will have evolved, devolved, progressed, regress? What do you think America will be like in January 2029? We're talking about that. Last but not least, this one, I mentioned it at the beginning of the live. I don't really like the terminology of it, but you're hearing people talk about black fatigue. You've undoubtedly heard about black fatigue. It's all over social media. It's in the comment section on YouTube videos, Facebook videos, Instagram videos. Anytime you see a black person acting a fool, not complying with police, talking shit, wearing their pants around their ass, not speaking proper English, you see phrases referencing black fatigue. However, I'm going to actually ask questions around this. And the questions being, why do so many people view blacks as violent, lazy, ignorant, and irresponsible? So when I say violent, obviously black on black crime and things like that, a lot of people view blacks as a violent culture. When I say lazy, a lot of folks believe that blacks are not willing. Buckeye, yeah! Good to see you, Buckeye. Thank you. A lot of folks believe that the African American culture is lazy. They are not willing to put in an honest day's work. They would rather live off the system. Why do so many people believe that? We're going to talk about that. Also, irresponsible. We're talking about everything from not paying your bills to being running off and leaving your children behind. A lot of fatherlessness. They bring that up. Irresponsible. And of course, ignorant. Just not following the laws, not assimilating properly, just not speaking the language right, ignorant. So a lot of folks believe that. So we're going to talk about black fatigue and your opinion on why do you believe so many folks in this country believe that the black community is violent, lazy, ignorant, and irresponsible. And then last but not least, we're having an open forum where I'm allowing you folks to ask any question you want to yours truly in regards to current topics or even topics you may feel I should have covered. Maybe you think you're only covering shit regarding Trump. What about Hillary Clinton? What about Joe Biden? Let me ask you this. What did you think when Biden did that? Or what did you think when Obama did that? Today is your day to get your question asked. If it's a topic I haven't covered that you think I should have, or that you think I'm being biased, today you can ask that question. Don't worry about being blocked, banned, or censored. We don't do that shit. So if you're critical or even complimentary, we'll take it all. We let you speak here. And if you enjoy that type of a program, follow if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok. Give your boy a sub if you happen to be watching on YouTube. Mr. Mobetta says, let's be real. It's mostly white people and self-hating blacks that think that. Yeah. Overwhelmingly, most of the people that have black fatigue are not black. I do agree with that. But there are plenty that are black that are saying it. Usually the African Americans that say they have black fatigue are going to say they don't have a problem with blacks. They don't like the N-words. That's how they put it. But I'm going to ask you folks, why do you think the culture is like that? Why do you think people believe the culture is like that? Tap the screen, get us up to 20,000. We'll take the next caller. Tim, rap music, a positive or negative for the black culture? Both. It is both. On Eon Times, I think you're asking me, is rap music positive or negative for the black culture? Steve Harvey, we're all aware of who Steve Harvey is. Family Feud, stand-up comedian, one of the more successful stand-up comedians back in the day. TV programs, you name it. He stated that hip-hop has put more money in the black community than any other facet of life. Academics, athletics, music, nothing. Music, I guess R&B or something. But point is, because anybody can fucking rap. It's a very easy, you don't need a special voice, a little bit of talent. You need to be able to make your words rhyme and relate to an audience. But fact is, there's a whole lot of millionaires that have been produced from the hip hop industry, particularly now that the African American community are smart enough to control their own product. Used to be, a bunch of white guys or whatever, some would say Jewish guys or whatever, that would control the record label, and these guys would be putting out hits and making no money at all. But now that the black community is producing and directing their own videos and shit like that, there's a lot of money. So you say, has it been good or bad for the black community? There is obviously negatives in regards to, let's say, drill rap, where people are actually making music about actual crimes they committed. It's probably more negative because there's just simply the numbers, but there's a ton of positive to it as well. There's a lot of folks that have established generational wealth. You got folks like Dr. Dre. You got folks like Jay-Z that are now, billionaires that started out in hip hop. I'm assuming Ice Cube is probably well up there in, maybe not a billionaire, but he's probably way the hell up there. So, there is a whole lot of money that started with rap music. Ice-T has been on Law and Order for how many decades? Well, it spawned from him being a rapper. LL Cool J has a very successful television career, spawned from him being a rapper. Will Smith is worth a ton of money. Be worth a lot more had he not slapped Chris Rock, but fact is his career started from rapping. So it's some good and bad. Great question, by the way. Why are half of you even here? No one in this chat will likely change their math significantly unless they have some personal experience or event that forces them. They don't have to be here to get all that. I don't know where you're going with that. If you don't like rap, yell your white, wait a minute. If you don't like rap, yell your white children to stop buying the music and going to the concerts. Yeah, no shit. There's a whole lot of supporters of rap music that are white. In fact, I'll give you an example. Me personally, I went to see Nelly perform. He's still, some of these older guys from the 90s and shit. They huge catalog of music. They still perform. Nelly, see him about a month, 3 weeks or a month ago. Shit, I was outnumbered in terms of black people. 500 to 1. And I was it was like at a state fair, so there was other people. But it was tens of thousands of people that paid to see him, 50 some odd dollars the ticket. And I was outnumbered like 500 to 1. There is a lot of white people that like rap. There's a lot of white people that like rap music. So that is a point well taken. Linda says, I don't listen to rap anymore. All right, well, listen, rap music is tailored to a younger audience. I don't know how old you are. But my guess is most people that are between 15 and 30 listen to a little bit of rap. Real quick, at least a little bit of rap. They switch lanes, says Mr. Mobile. I don't get what you mean by that. Black folks have been dealing with white fatigue for hundreds of years. Let me go back to the box. Are we at 1,000? Tap the damn screen. Get the lights on up. Going back to the box. Mr. Mobetta, black fatigue, ignorant, lazy, violent. What say you?
It's amazing how they start some things, create these things, and then turn it around as if they're the problem. Now, I said that to say, to come up with stuff like this, we got to go back.
Okay.
Let's go. We have to go back in history and in times. Y'all might hear my grandson in the back.
Don't worry about it. Keep going.
Go back in the time why black people act or react the way we.
Okay.
Now, like you said, like Dr. King used to say, you wanted us, the black people, to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but we didn't have any boots.
All right, but that's
you put us over here. You stripped us of language. You forced your religion on us, and you did some unspeakable acts to us. And then you expect us to get into society once we were so-called free and to behave like good boys and girls.
Okay.
So if you plant a bad seed, you're going to get bad fruit.
But wait a minute, are you tying stuff like black on black crime and fatherlessness in the black community? Are you tying that to oppression from the white man?
Absolutely, that comes from that.
How does that work? Explain.
You got to go back to, they used to have black men and stuff, and it's a part of book breaking also. They would make them fight for their positions. They would put them in front of their company, have the black men fighting for their positions to stay alive. They would make them fight to the death.
What is this, Gladiator?
That was not just in the movies, Tim. This stuff actually happened.
Yeah, but wait, Miss Mobetta, Miss Mobetta, we're talking about black fatigue in 2025. Nobody's fighting violently for a job anymore.
No, that's true. But again, it's learned behavior that they never learned to get. It's learned behavior that they never got away from. It just carried on from generation to generation to certain people. Not all of us act that way. They just put that. We have a lot of successful black doctors, black lawyers, black teachers. We have so many successful black inventors that the white people today are actually enjoying the fruits of the black inventors.
How do you now, like Maddie in the comments says, hello, nothing. You're just mad you have to go to work every day. I mean, because there's a lot of... Go ahead.
That's bullshit. We like to work because y'all used to keep it from us. Y'all used to make us work for free. I like to work to be able to earn my own money. Stuff like that, that's the denial that they're in. Of course, they won't admit to what they've done.
I don't think that...
they don't want...
I don't think that grandbaby agrees with you. You sound like you're oppressing that kid there. That kid sounds oppressed.
Because y'all got my time right now. He wants my time. Every time you get on the phone and he like, you got to talk to only me. Okay. So that's why you don't think they want the history taught. Because again, a lot of the stuff that they're claiming to be that's happening now, how people are acting now, is because this is how you taught us to be.
I don't know. So you think
black people are heavy into religion and stuff like that because that was forced. And like you said, why follow their religion? Because we really didn't know anything else. What else did we know?
But you really think the black on black crime that takes place in our community, you think that that's coming from the white man teaching us to do that to each other?
Yeah, pretty much. Now, is it happening now because of them? No. It's happening now. That's who's in the same area. It's gonna be black on black crime if you're in a predominantly black area. Yeah, so that's why they keep saying, white crime happens also. That's just not highlighted. You understand what I'm saying? So they'll take one instance with a black on black crime and act like that's what's happening all over the world. Oh, see how they act? No, let's show us how you act.
Well, speaking of how a person acts, let me give you this is an uncensored comment. I'll let you do it as you may, but I believe in zero censorship. In the comments, Michelle says, we didn't teach 40-year-old black women to come in a Bath and Body Works and steal 53 wick candles at a time, damn, and make 19-year-old black girls feel unsafe. How do you respond to something like that?
So I guess white women don't steal. Listen, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to go case by case because all black people don't steal. But do some of them steal? Yes. Yeah. Some black people steal, but so do some white people.
True.
So let's stop acting like we are the only ones that are doing stuff like that. I was just watching a video today where the lady had a total crash out. Got caught stealing in Walmart. Guess what? It was a white woman. And then she started yelling, "Oh, my son is at the courthouse. I've never done anything before." They play the Karen role. So let's see. And if they really want to get into the hysterics and shit, white privilege is real when it comes to certain things. You can go look at the books of the court cases of people that have been arrested for rape, arrested for stealing, arrested for unaliving people and stuff. You can check the books. White privilege is real.
But do you believe whites are privileged that they're like you mentioned the shoplifting thing? Do you think that she got treated better than an African American in the same circumstance?
No, that one instance, no. They arrested her like they would do a black person.
All right.
But my point is, don't act like white people are not doing it. Don't speak as if it's just the black community that is out here stealing. When most of the time, a lot of the black communities are of a lesser economic demographics. So we got to stop pretending how this stuff's acting like this. They weren't the cause of how a lot of this stuff started, and it just carried over.
What about
they're trying to gerrymander and do all kinds of stuff now because of stuff like that? Like, come on, that stuff.
Well, let's be clear.
Well,
let's be clear. Even though I'm no fan of gerrymandering twice in a 3-year span, the Democrats have gerrymandered states as well. Not to the point where, like, with Trump.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
It's it's legal to be done every 10 years
Right.
when the census is
Right.
out. And see, this is the part that they're missing. You're trying to hold a special elections to have it done now. Why?
Because of the midterms.
If you don't see it as cheating, why do you feel the need to have to do it before the time is allotted?
Yeah, and I see in the comments, Leroy Marston says Texas is not doing anything different. That's actually not true. They just redistricted in 2021. So for them to be doing it again in only 4 years, I don't know anywhere that's done it that quickly. So look.
And why? Why do you feel the need to have to do that?
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I scared him. I didn't know he was going to sleep. But I'm gonna go now because let me take care of him.
All right, you do that. You stop oppressing my little baby. All right, I'll move it on. And by the way, yeah, that's what I was saying is that and thank you, Mr. Mobetta. The census is normally every 10 years. So what they're doing in Texas, Democrats absolutely gerrymander districts. There's no denying that. But to do it twice in only a span of 4 years, I don't know of any example where Democrats have done that. And that's where I think the folks that are defending Trump is leaving out when they say, they don't do it like that. I don't even know if any other Republicans did it like that. And not to mention, you hear Trump making it clear that it's done by him wanting 5 more seats. They're not doing it for any other reason. He's not saying, well, listen, there's a lot of districts that are no longer being properly represented by the proper representatives because so many people moved out of an area. Let's take something like, since we're talking about black fatigue, there is a phrase called white flight. I think we've all heard of it. A lot of times black people move into an area and whites move out, causing the property taxes to go down and things like that. We're not here to talk about white flight, but we're here to talk about it in conjunction with maybe redistricting. So all of a sudden, if you got a neighborhood that's loaded with, let's say, black people, chances are they're going to have a black politician. Or better yet, if you got a neighborhood that's loaded with white people, chances are the politician is going to be white as well. Few black people move in the neighborhood, all of a sudden whites start moving out of the neighborhood. Now that particular politician may not represent the current interests of the people that are there. So every 10 years, they move around with the census to make adjustments based on people moving here and moving there. Like California is losing a lot of people. That's going to lead to things changing. People move around. But it's every 10 years, not every 4. And that's where Trump looks different than most other people that have done it, liberals and conservatives in the past, is that it ain't got nothing to do with people moving that quick. It's simply because I think if I do this, I can get 5 more seats. It's solely done to rig the elections in Texas. It's done to guarantee you'll win extra seats in Texas, regardless of how the people vote in that state. You're doing something that is going to give you victories, regardless of how they vote. That's rigging, where the votes for those people have minimal effect now because of what you did. So you've kind of taken the power away from the people when it comes to voting and put it into a politician in regards to how he gerrymandered. That's not how the system was ran. And I will say this, before I go to the next caller, by the way, tap the screen, get us up to 30. I will say this as well. Remember when Trump was going to drain the swamp? Remember when Trump was not going to be a typical politician? I'm going to ask you folks this question. Why is it that when people are criticizing Trump, there's always some liberal that can be brought up? Well, Obama did that too. Biden did. The folks that the right hate, the folks that the right think are absolute pieces of political shit, that's who we keep comparing Trump to. When Trump is being criticized, well, Obama was doing the same thing, or this liberal was doing this. Whatever happened to, no, Trump would never do no shit like that. That's what you liberals do. That's what folks believed they were voting in. It's somebody who was different. Somebody who wasn't going to be a typical politician. Somebody who was going to drain the swamp. Not somebody who was going to keep pointing to, well, the other liberal you hated, he was doing the same thing I'm doing. That part I don't understand. That part I do not understand, is that we keep comparing Trump to liberals that Trump supporters absolutely despise, as opposed to simply saying, no, Trump wouldn't do the shit that you liberals did. I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing folks respond with, no, he didn't do it. It's more like, well, Biden didn't release the list. Well, Obama was putting kids in cages. I'm hearing that you're doing the same thing. That doesn't sound like draining the swamp. Looking in the comments though, the ideologues on both sides will always do whataboutisms. That is true. But that is the moniker of typical politicians. That is not what Trump was supposed to be. Now that it just sounds like he's just one of the rest of them in there. Let me go back to the box. We'll continue on with the show. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen. I don't know if somebody was in there or not, but it's open. They voted for someone who will hit back. I don't mind hitting back, but always saying that you're doing the same thing as Obama, that's not hitting back. I mean, if you thought Obama was a piece of shit and you're in office doing the same thing he's doing, that's not hitting back. That's almost like mimicking. You know, Biden didn't give up the Epstein list. That's what you hear when folks ask, why hasn't Trump gave up the Epstein list? You're going to compare yourself to the guy you said has dementia and doesn't even know where the hell he's at? Why is he coming up when people ask you about the Epstein list? It should be Biden was hiding in his basement. He didn't know what the hell was going on. That's why you didn't get the list from Biden. Here it is from me, a president that actually answers to the people. Why do we keep comparing him to liberals? I don't get that. Elephants don't fight the ants, says Further Great. Tacos don't talk. Tacos don't hit back. Well, speaking of taco, the acronyms meaning Trump always chickens out. Let me ask you folks. Now, the 10-day threat to the nation of Russia, if they don't end the Ukrainian war, ends Friday. Russia was given to Friday to make peace with Ukraine. By way of yes or no in the comments, how many people think Russia's going to adhere to Trump's threat? By way of yes or no in the comments, how many people think that Trump is going to scare Russia or threaten Russia or get Russia to leave the Ukraine alone as of this coming Friday? That's when they have. Trump is threatening to put all of these sanctions and whatever the hell else into motion starting Friday. How many of you folks think that Russia is going to adhere to that? I don't see anybody, not one person. That shit is a joke, says King. I don't see one person saying, yes, he's going to do that. Wow. All right. Well, so what do you think Trump is going to do then? Because make no mistake about it, we don't trade with Russia anyway. So I don't know how much value of imposing sanctions on Russia could even have to begin with. We don't do much trading with Russia, and most of the free world that we consider allies don't trade with Russia much either. So at this point, unless Trump plans on going at Russia militarily or significantly upgrading the ordnance we're giving to the Ukraine, it's just idle threats. They suggest that Russia has lost over 1 million soldiers to the Ukrainian war. Why would they stop now because of Trump? Trump ain't offering yet. This is the whole reason why his promise of ending the Ukraine-Russia war in 24 hours was a complete flop. You're not coming to the table with anything. You're just telling both sides, y'all need to stop this. You were taking away our assistance and intelligence we were giving to Ukraine when he took office, and you were handing Russia nothing at all. So you're treating Ukraine worse than Biden did, and you're not treating Russia any better or worse than Biden. Better than Biden did, Trump was, because he was more favorable to Russia a little bit. But point being, why the hell would Trump or any Trump supporters think that he could end the Ukrainian-Russian war in 24 hours by offering? And nevertheless, people did believe that. People actually did vote believing that if Trump wins, he's going to stop these wars. You're offering nothing. I don't know why anybody would think that was going to work. Putin is laughing at Trump. Damn. You think so? Super, ultra, mega, MAGA. That's a strong mouthful there. By the way, tap the screen. I don't know what happened to the box. I had to reset it, I believe. So the box is open. Feel free to come on through. Putin been laughing at Trump. I don't know. What would be the reason of laughing at Trump? I mean, regardless of what Putin thinks of Trump, the Ukrainians are killing a lot of Russians. So it ain't like Putin has a lot to laugh at. I mean, this country is putting a hurt on you. You ain't. I mean, Russia doesn't look like it's doing all that great going up against the Ukrainians. I mean, look, they could obviously go nuclear if they wanted to, but conventional, Russia's not doing that great as long as we keep providing the Ukrainians with even a little bit of weapons. And one thing the Ukrainians need to be given credit for is their resolve. Their resolve is off the chain. They went up against a juggernaut and they're willing to fight. I mean, they fighting hard. When you consider what they're going up against, the amount of manpower, the size of that nation, military might of that nation, even when Trump completely stopped assisting them, they're fighting hard. The Ukrainians are some real fucking warriors. They should get credit for that. And that should be extended to Zelensky as well. I know a lot of MAGA did not have any love for Zelensky because a lot of folks on the right convinced you that he was buying Bugattis and all this other bullshit. But that man has stayed in a fucking war zone for 3 years. When the West offered him sanctuary, he stated, I don't need a ride, I just need ammunition. That dude is a fucking hero. That's what a war hero is like. Out on the battlefield, that guy could have, you guys say he didn't hold an election. He could have had an election, let the Ukraine pick another leader and rode off into the sunset. No, he's staying there to fight for his country. That's a fucking war hero. I guess I could ask you folks, not that it's going to happen, but I can ask you, do you think Trump would be as dependable as Zelensky to do what Zelensky, do you think Trump would do that? Do you think Biden would do that? That dude is a war hero. Don't know what I just trying to bring up for some reason the screen is freezing here. Russia don't give a fuck about Trump. Don't have any reason to. America's not doing anything for Russia. Why would they care about how we think about that shit? No, they have people from other countries fighting for Russia again. Well, yeah, there's a reason why they have people fighting from other countries for Russia, like the North Koreans, because they don't kick the hell of a lot of Russian ass. There's a reason why a lot of other people were fighting for them. They lost a lot of soldiers. Dude's a washed up actor they planted as president and you're buying it. Yes, Stevie, I'm buying it. I'm really buying it. Look, I don't care what Zelensky is. And he was a comedian and actor. I get what you're saying. But when Russia attacked that nation, Western countries offered Zelensky sanctuary. We told him that the Russians are trying to assassinate you. You can go stay in a Western country with you and your family and live happily ever after and leave that shit behind. He chose to stay and fight on behalf of his own country. I don't give a damn what he is. I don't care if he was a school teacher, like Tom Hanks in Saving Private. I don't care what he was. I mean, the fact is, he's staying behind and fighting for his country. It's like Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan. He's a school teacher. Now he's on the battlefield dying for his country. I mean, that guy is willing to put it on the line. You realize how eager the Russians would be to kill that man? He could have easily been hanging out with his family in Britain or in Greece somewhere, just living a normal life and left that behind. He had an avenue out. He's chose to stay behind and continue to engage against a juggernaut. He's a war hero. Have you met a poor Republican? Yes, plenty of them, T2. Yes. Look, I used to be an over-the-road driver. I'll tell you, the poorest states in the Union are blood red. West Virginia, Mississippi has been poor ever since they ended slavery. Mississippi, Arkansas, backwoods Louisiana, fucking Alabama, all of that Bible Belt shit where they trying to pray their way to survival, all of that shit, dirt poor down there in blood red. So yeah, I've met a lot of poor Republicans, a lot of dirt poor Republicans. Kentucky is another one. I think I read once that 8 of the poorest counties in the country are in eastern Kentucky, over there near the Appalachian, where J.D. Vance apparently grew up. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of poor. I think it's probably more them, because the Republican Party tends to believe in pulling yourself up by your bootstrap and self-reliance, meaning that if you fall on your face, you stay on your face until you either die in that position or you figure out a way to get up. The liberals believe in giving you a handout. So you probably got more poor Republicans than you do poor Democrats, because there's nobody coming to help you if you're a poor Republican. They expect you to pray your way out of that shit. Don't forget the abolitions, bro. Yeah. Most people are weak, says T2. Here is Donald Trump at 79 leading America while these little boys at 25 are dumbfounded. Older guys schooled their asses. Well, I would ask you first. I mean, you said Trump at 79 is leading America. That is absolutely true. But when you say why these little boys at 25 are dumbfounded, who are you referring to? What do you mean by 25-year-olds are dumbfounded? I mean, look, at 25, most of us were kind of dumbfounded, to be honest with you. There's a reason why you pay more for car insurance and shit like that. You take more risk at 25. I mean, he's 79 years old. You've kind of accumulated all of the wisdom you got left. I mean, he's actually lived beyond the average lifespan of hell. So he should be a little bit more intelligent than a 20, right? Not to mention, as I stated before, he's had a hell of a head start. Hell of a head start. While a lot of us are struggling to even go to community college and pay the most meager of student loans, he grew up in a rich family that could literally send him anywhere. I mean, what did he go to the Wharton School of Finance? I mean, you got all kinds of financial backing. He should be a little bit ahead, right? He certainly didn't didn't originate at the same starting line as everybody else. He should be a little bit ahead. I mean, if you think about running around a track and reaching the finish line, while everybody else had to run a mile to reach the finish line, he kind of is like 2 steps away from it when the race began. I mean, he should be much further ahead. Zelensky's Stephen Bandera wannabe. Okay, I don't know. Land rich money, poor Republicans, they own more property. When I'm talking about being impoverished, I mean you can't really afford to buy the luxuries in life. That's what I'm talking about. You couldn't just go out and buy a nice car, or you don't have a really nice home. You can't just go out and afford to take cruises and nice vacations. You can't afford financially the luxuries in life. I think there's a whole lot of poor Republicans like that. That's what I'm saying. Somebody says, what a bunch of cheaters. Are you talking about in regards to the rigging of the midterms? I don't know what's going on with the box. Never seen it open like that. Nevertheless, we'll make it happen. You need a history on nationalism. Ooh. Jeff Tinbury. Getting a history on nationalism would probably be very challenging, because you're trying to establish history on people that don't want to be part of history. I mean, it is what it is. The people that you're studying are going to deny that they are those people. So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but, very few people walk up to you and say, hi, my name is Tim, I'm a racist. Most of the folks who are the most intolerant amongst us, when questioned, will say that they don't have a racist bone in their body. Most people don't admit it. There's a reason why they're wearing hoods and masks and all that. They don't admit it. Very few people actually come out and admit it. So if you're doing a history lesson on it, a lot of them ain't gonna come out and tell you the truth on that. I could only wish to have your education, sir. Says, look, perhaps I wish to have your education. There's no know-it-alls here. So a lot of times we exchange ideas here. But I want to ask you folks also, in addition to the black fatigue issue, and I am taking, this is an open forum while the box is empty. This is an open forum. We are taking questions in regards to current topics, things like that. If you do have a question that you've wanted to ask on the program in relation to current topics or even past topics, feel free to state that. We'll tackle it in the best way we can. Maybe things that should have been covered. Perhaps you don't think the liberals get covered enough. Or perhaps you think that things about Trump did not get covered. We'll take those questions as well. But we're talking about black fatigue. Why do you guys think so many people think that the black community is violent, lazy, ignorant, and irresponsible? It's all over social media. You do hear it on Fox News to some degree as well, but it's on social media, absolutely in right-wing circles as well. It's all over the place. Why do you think that is? Governor Reginald, like with the elephant. So I'm going to assume you are a conservative governor. Good evening.
You know who I am, handsome, bro.
Not yet.
You know who I am.
Not yet.
You know who I am. We've had conversations before,
Okay.
sir, and I'm a moderate Republican. You know that.
Okay. How is
We
Trump?
talk about.
Now you're moderate. You're moderate. How do you think Trump's doing so far?
I think he's doing damn good. I thought we was talking about black fatigue. Now you want to talk?
No, we can talk about black fatigue. We're going to cover it all. But why do you think so? We'll go right into black fatigue. Why do you think so many people have such a negative connotation of the African American community?
I personally believe that there's some black folk that are just act a plumb damn fool in public, and it make the whole race look ignorant. Like I see the videos. You've seen the videos of these folks that go up here in public, act a plumb damn fool. Not a fool, not a damn fool, but a plumb damn fool. In the cruise ships, the grocery stores, the beauty parlor, the barber shop, all that. It just make all the rest of us look stupid.
But let me ask you this, because I often hear many folks that are white on the program say, I don't hold no, I'm not embarrassed about slavery. I didn't have nothing to do with it. You know, I'm not embarrassed about Jim Crow. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Why is it that when as you say, a plumb damn fool, why is it that when an African American who we have no to does something that acts a plumb damn fool, as you put it, it is all African Americans, but if you see a white person do that, we don't see it as a reflection on all white people.
Open to you. Want me to tell you how I see it?
Sure.
I don't care if you black, white, Puerto Rican, Chinese, or what. If you acting a plumb damn fool, I'm gonna call you a plumb damn fool. Now that's just how I do it, how I see it.
But that ain't what I asked you.
I can't, huh?
That ain't what I asked you. You said.
I can't help. Just said what?
You said when you got blacks online, cruise ships and things like that, acting a plumb damn fool, making us all look bad. What I'm saying is, why is it when whites do something, it doesn't make the whole white race look bad?
Shit, because they don't cover it. I ain't gonna lie. They be quick to cover some black folk acting a plumb damn fool, but I've seen white folk act a plumb damn fool.
So you
They
said
just don't cover it as much.
So why don't you think they cover it as much when whites act a fool as opposed to blacks?
Because it don't sell. That's just like you look at this whole deal with that's going on with Texas with that black kid and that white boy, right? Had that been two white folk, do you think that would have been on national news? No.
Yeah.
Black folk get these people monies. It's all about ratings.
So they're
That's why
making.
they always talk.
So they're making. So they get better ratings by showing black people acting a plumb damn fool as opposed to white people.
Yes.
Is that not racism?
Stereotypes.
Is that not racism in itself?
How's that racism?
Because you believe you're want to see. Let's say you're white. Your people prefer to see black acting a fool than their actual people from their own community. I mean, that sounds like you want to hear negative about this community and not your own. It sounds to me like racism.
You can say it. You can say that. You can surely say that. But hey, if anybody act a plumb damn fool, I don't care who it is. I'm gonna call you a plumb damn fool. In fact, I was just downtown Nashville, and some white folks acting a plumb damn fool, and I called them out on it.
Yeah, but it's
just my cup of tea.
It's interesting you would say that though, because now that we've had this chat, you're kind of making it sound like that black fatigue is actually a product of racism. They're bringing you negatives of blacks just to put it in the news more for clicks and likes and ratings. So the black fatigue is kind of fabricated.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll find some clips of white folk acting a plumb damn fool, and we can call it white fatigue. How about that?
But
I'll start finding clips of white folk acting ignorant and wrong, and then I'll start posting that on social media. Hopefully, we get a following and some folk that watch it and share it, and then we can start talking about white fatigue.
How about Rick? I think it says Rick Clue in the comments here on YouTube says, no other race acts like blacks. How do you view that?
No other race acts like blacks.
That's an actual quote. That's an actual quote. No other race acts like blacks.
Somebody in your comments?
Yes. I'm assuming that person is not black. So that's an actual quote.
Well, I personally think, I don't know where he been hanging around, but you see some good old boys act just as ignorant and wrong as the black folk.
So there should. Go ahead. Based on what you're saying, so there should be an ample amount of white fatigue too. All right.
Yeah, they're called Karens. I mean, come on now. I've worked as a server and I did top flight security. I done dealt with Karens. Shit, I was calling it white fatigue, but way before they came up with black fatigue. But see, ain't nobody listening to me. They call me racist and all that.
Who are the they? Are you talking about people from your own community?
White liberals.
White liberals, okay. All right. So obviously when you're talking about liberals, we're gonna go back into the Trump administration. Now you're saying you do be well, let me ask you the actual question of the show. Since you are a Trump supporter, what does Make America Great mean to you?
For me?
Yeah. When you hear that phrase, what does it mean to you?
It means making it means making America great for everybody. Everybody has a good paying job, roof over their heads, food in their belly, money in the bank, all that. Not that stuff we went through, that high inflation and all that rigmarole we went through with the previous administration.
You do realize
taxes.
You do realize we're going through all that stuff right now with high inflation and high grocery prices as we speak. We're still going through that.
Okay. Excuse me. I apologize for belching on your live.
Don't worry about it.
What was the highest the inflation rate got under President Biden?
I don't have I should have that in front of me. Okay.
About 9%. Okay, what's the highest has been so far under the second term of Trump?
Cue me in. I don't know.
I think last time I looked, it was about either 3.5 or 3.7, somewhere around there.
Somehow I don't believe that's accurate. I can't dispute it because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but somehow I don't believe what you said. 6% difference. Somehow I don't believe that's accurate. Somebody let me know.
The highest inflation got under President Biden was 9% in like 2022.
What is the lowest it got under Biden?
The lowest it got was when he came into office at about 1.7%.
Somehow I don't think your numbers are. I can't speak on it. So what's the highest it's been under Trump?
So in his second term so far, about 3.5% or something like that. It's like the inflation. Yeah, I'm not going to dispute inflation has went up in the second term of President Trump, but not going up to the highest it went under Biden. Like,
but here,
what do you think?
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think about the big beautiful bill?
I don't think even Trump thinks the big beautiful bill is that great. You notice you don't hear him talking about anything about that now that it's passed. You don't hear him bragging about anybody that's benefiting from it. They got that passed. Right on to the next topic. Normally when Trump is doing something great, he's bragging about it. You don't hear him saying shit about the big beautiful bill at all.
Well, most of the stuff in the big beautiful bill don't even take effect until
but he could still be
2027.
Right, but he could still be bragging about how much greatness is en route. He's not talking about it at all. He's not making it sound like there's anything they expect from that.
Have you read the bill?
I haven't read the 300-page bill, no.
I'm pretty sure you read articles about it.
I've read plenty of. I don't like I believe that just like with immigration or just like with abortion, I think a lot of politicians use extremes to get things done or get people to agree with something. And then once it actually happens, they go way beyond the extremes. I think when you're talking about the work requirement for Medicaid, for instance, I don't think that amounts to anything more than getting people off Medicaid that actually needs it. And when you fired so many people, you're going to have people getting kicked off Medicaid and stating that I have a legitimate case to actually be on it, but I can't reach anybody at the federal government, so I've been without Medicare for 6 months. You're going to have shit. You don't fired a lot of the people. So if you you send somebody a letter saying, we believe you can work, so you have to send us work requirements. And the person is like, well, I don't have no legs or I can't see or some shit. I am unable to work. and they're trying to respond to the letter they got threatening to cut them off, you're going to have people saying that there's nobody responding to me at the federal government. It takes months to hear from people. So I think what it's going to end up is going to amount to is just a net gain of people being cut off of Medicaid that don't deserve to be.
Well, number one, it will be the state that you'll be getting a letter from, not the federal government, right? Secondly, if you have no legs or can't see, that would mean you're medically disabled, which means you would qualify, you would be exempt from the work requirements. The work requirements are only for able-bodied people.
You're assuming, but you're assuming they don't make mistakes. They may send that letter to somebody who should be qualified, and the person that is qualified is now having a hard time being able to contact anybody at the federal government level.
Okay. So, again, you won't contact the person you're trying to reach is not going to be at the federal government. It's going to be at your state, because the states are the ones that they manage the day-to-day operations of Medicaid and a lot of these other government assistance programs, right? So I'm not going to say that mistakes won't be made, but we're talking about something that hasn't happened yet.
You took $1 trillion away from Medicaid. You don't think that's going to culminate into anybody losing Medicaid at all? They took $1 trillion out of it.
There will be people
right. That's what I'm talking about.
Off of Medicaid, but a lot of these people that are being removed off, according to the legislation, is illegal aliens and able-bodied Americans that can go and work, volunteer, or go to school, be productive for 20 hours a week. Handsome, there are exemptions. Yeah. The exemptions are if you're disabled, if you're over the age of 65, under the age of 18, or enrolled in Medicare Part A or Part B, you're exempt from the work requirements altogether.
Okay.
Same thing with SNAP. You're exempt from the requirements for SNAP if you're under 18, over 65, if you're disabled, if you have a dependent child that's like under the age of 14 years old or something like that. Like you will still there's exemptions to these requirements, just like there was exemptions.
And but the problem with this stuff is they make mistakes, so you may qualify for an exemption that they're not giving you, and you're having a hard time getting it corrected because so few people. You say it's going to go to the states. They've removed so much money from the states that the states won't be able to respond to you in time either. I mean, the states are going to be hurting from this stuff.
They've actually given money to states in the legislation.
They gave them less, not more.
There's funding in there just for verification purposes.
Okay.
There's funding in there to help states implement these work requirements.
Okay. Well, the way you're explaining it, the reason I have such a difference of opinion with you, and Mike, appreciate the hat mustache, thank you there. The reason I have a problem with it is because Trump has a habit of saying a lot of things that turn out not to be true. Like, we need to get the election integrity back up because dead people and illegal immigrants are voting. But he don't show you any proof of it. So when you say Medicaid and stuff like that, well, illegal immigrants are getting health care and stuff like that. He don't prove any of this stuff, though. He gives you extreme examples to do stuff, and people agree with it because you don't want an illegal alien that's committing crimes or rapes and murders to be in the country. But then when it comes down to what he actually does and proving it, it never culminates in anything. So that's where the problem is. What you're saying sounds good, but Trump is proving that the people that he called illegal immigrants or people that are getting it, a lot of that stuff turned out not to be true.
And I can say the same thing about you sitting up here saying, oh, well, we have people that are actually qualifying for Medicaid they're not getting those benefits, and you've yet to provide any evidence to back up that claim.
Okay, perhaps, but I'm talking about something in the future. I'm saying Trump has already done this stuff. Trump is...
Okay, so So you're making an argument of something that hasn't even happened yet.
No, it has happened. It has happened. Trump is...
So please give me a name of somebody who qualified for Medicaid or any government assistance program that either
No, that ain't what I'm talking about.
Cut off.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is Trump often categorizes people improperly. That's what I'm talking about. So why wouldn't it happen in his Medicaid outcome. He did it in illegal immigrants. He's talking about people eating pets and shit. He often categorizes people improperly. Why wouldn't that carry over to his Medicaid cuts?
Because if you read the legislation, you would know who is exempt from the work requirements, and you would know what the work requirements are.
I heard the man on. I don't need to read it. I heard the man on stage say people are eating pets. It came out of his mouth. It ain't true.
What does people eating cats and dogs in Springfield has to do with Medicaid requirements?
It has to do with how he categorizes people. He says things about people that are not true. So when he creates the Medicaid provisions, a lot of that is based on his belief of people existing that is not true.
Okay. So you're against the work requirements. Got it.
I don't think I don't think it's necessary.
What about the tax cuts for middle class Americans and the new deductions that middle class Americans can take advantage of?
I think the tax cuts are so minuscule. I mean, look, I'm okay with the tax cut, but I think it's so minuscule. I don't think most Americans are going to know. Like, for instance, no tax on tips, but it's got to be cash. So if you're working in an Olive Garden or something like that, where everybody.
No, it's qualified tips. That includes tips you get from a card.
What is the definition of qualified tips? What is that?
The IRS.gov that tells you. Okay. The legislation says any tip, whether it's cash or card, qualifies for the deduction. It has to be a qualified tip. So Uber drivers, you take an Uber and you tip your Uber driver, right? That's a qualified tip.
I don't, like I said before, I don't believe, because we got the same tax cuts under his first term. I don't see where people at the bottom were bragging about how great they were doing. I'm nowhere near the top. His first term did not change my life to any significant financially. It didn't make a big difference.
Okay, so you don't think that the people being able to deduct overtime comp and car loan interest and tips and seniors deducting $6,000 off of their taxes, you don't think that would benefit people?
If I'm correct, didn't he change a lot of things you can claim as well, though? Aren't there things you used to be able to claim that you cannot now?
Well, yeah, the IRS released a whole document after that legislation was signed, and there's various deductions that, from my understanding, only benefited the wealthy. Like, for example, I read that business owners have a lower deduction of how much they can deduct off of entertainment, dinner, and stuff that they have for their clients or whatever.
I'm just gonna
deductions for private airplanes and yachts.
I'm just gonna say it like this. There's a reason why Republican constituencies were all up in arms about how bad this bill was. Even folks who voted for Trump in their district. I still haven't heard a lot of folks on the right talk about how great this bill is going to be. Even folks on the right are not celebrating it.
That's because people have not actually taken the time to read the actual tax portion of the legislation, and also a lot of people don't have a CPA, which is I've been recommending everybody go get a CPA, have them go over the various deductions and stuff that you can deduct off your taxes for this year when you file your taxes next year, right? And willing to bet you money that you'll get money back.
But how do you respond to the fact that the stuff he did for the lower end of the financial spectrum only goes a handful of years, where the people at the top get benefits for basically forever? Why is there such a disparity like that?
Because every tax credit or deduction has always been temporary. For example, if you look at when President Trump and Biden expanded the child tax credit, that benefited middle class Americans, and that was temporary.
Okay, I want to bring up somebody who actually has read a little bit more of this. We've talked about this before. Mike, is what he's saying sounds fairly accurate to you?
No, I mean some of it is accurate, but he's missing out. He's leaving some detail out. But
on what?
Well, for example, when you talk about the tax cuts, or you talk about no tax on tips, which is a tax deduction, or taxes on overtime is a deduction. It doesn't mean that your paycheck is going to change, right? but the average person that voted for him because of those two things thought that they would see more on their paycheck bi-weekly. They weren't looking for a tax deduction. That's a significant difference.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're able to deduct up to $12,500 as a standalone deduction.
But what would be the difference between last year?
Well, the difference between last year and this year is you're more likely to get a bigger tax refund. Because you have this, for example, me, I made 10 grand in overtime alone last year. Okay? If I'm able to deduct $10,000 as a standalone deduction on top of the standard deduction, which was also increased in the legislation, I can now deduct up to like $25,000 ballpark figure, which is going to lower my taxable income by $25,000.
Okay, before you respond to that, Mike, I just want to say, Will G, I do see your comment about the American Eagle Sweeney the jeans. We'll talk about that. It's off the topic, but I'll certainly cover it in detail when we're done. But go ahead, you folks.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, what tax bracket does your base salary put you in? And what Tim was saying was, most people, particularly in the hospitality business, where they're hourly employees, if they weren't claiming their cash tips before, and most people that get cash tips do not claim their cash tips, why the fuck would you do that? Right? It just makes no financial sense. They're not going to start doing it now. So the only ones you can complain that you can claim, which you were accurate about, is the ones that are on credit card. Well, most of those, depending on what state and what industry you're in, are pulled by with the rest of your employees. So it's not something that is going to be significant for anybody, and it expires in 2028. So why would you put anything, even if I took you at face value, why would I think that I got something for 4 years, but you made the tax credits for the most wealthy permanent?
What tax credits for the wealthy were made permanent?
He made them permanent.
Which
at
ones?
Minimum, at
Which
16
ones?
years.
Which ones?
I'm trying to answer you. All he did was extend what was in place.